Okay. This weapon truly is the weapon of all time. The Arc 12 Blitzer is a weapon that fits the developer's narrative when they say primary weapons shouldn't be the main focus. We should be leaning towards all our stratagems that goes from orbitals to the eagles to the support weapons, the backpacks, and even the turrets over, say, using our primary weapons to kind of fend off and, should be able to keep our stratagems in our back pocket when we need it for when things really hit the fan. Now, the new weapons, and that is the Arc 12 Blitzer and the Punisher Plasma, still great. The Arc 12 or the Punisher Plasma feels better in an overall pick. If I was to choose between these two weapons, it would have to be the Plasma Punisher. The Arc 12 Blitzer has issues that I don't think it can contend with the other six shotguns, even let alone trying to defend itself in a which one you should run with when it comes to the SG8 Punisher after receiving the nasty buff in the previous patch. This weapon suffers from, when it comes to end game, extremely long reload times. It suffers from accuracy and damage consistencies because the arc doesn't come out in a controlled burst. The arc can go from just not coming out at all, like a wet fart, doesn't connect with anyone, and it's just a pretty light show at the end of your gun. Or it can go from popping heads off brood commanders, uh, one tapping one or two little roach bugs, maybe even it'll arc to one enemy. That's it. And even then, it might not kill the first or second enemy. And then you got that long reload of, or let's just say the long rechamber after every time you shoot your weapon. And it's like 2 whole seconds. Now it may not seem like a long time to some, but in end game, when it comes to especially a shooting game, it makes a hell of a difference. Especially when you have a horde and then stuff slowly begins to hit the fan. You got a random roach calling in a bug breach. You might not know what comes out from the other end of that bug breach. You might first meet a Bile Titan. You might get a charger, but anyways, let's keep on track with the weapon. The weapon's accuracy is horrendous. You need to hit all arc bolts in order to do the maximum amount of damage possible. And that's not even consistent. So say for instance, you have any random enemy, and let's just say extra enemies come onto the screen. Now your ability to one tap and get it out the way has just diminished because the arc bolts want to do their own thing instead of being controlled, like say the arc thrower. You know where you're aiming it, you know where it's going to go. It's just a matter of who's on the other end of it, the initial blast. It could be another hell diver gets one tap. It could be more enemies. It could arc to like 2, maybe 3 more enemies after that, after the initial burst. When it comes to the arc blitzer, it only does one, and it may not even kill it. And as far as friendly fire, it's a hell of an inconvenience because the arc bolts, the spread it can be just a little crazy at times because let's just say if another hell diver is just anywhere in front of your screen, it could be to the corner of it. If you aim and shoot this thing, you have to worry about an arc striking the hell diver. Now instead of a little stun, and then all right, that hurt. Be careful. It'll make the hell diver just completely fall, flop to the ground, and set himself up to be one tapped by any bug because helmet wear doesn't protect you all that much when it comes to critical hits. He may get one tapped, he may get two tapped, depending on the bug, and that can cause, especially when you're a solo hell diver that's randomly matchmaking to help out other squads, that can cause them to look at you kind of sideways. You only get one time. You only get one time, and then you keep doing it again. Then you're going to increase your chances of getting kicked out of the game. So you have to be very careful how you use this weapon, and more so, the range on it is pretty bad. I mean, no one wants to get anywhere near 100. I don't care if it's one, two, three, five of them. No one ever wants to get anywhere near hunters. They want majority, if not all hell divers, want to get rid of hunter patrols in like under 10 seconds of seeing them and their ears fly up. Because you have that window to get them all out the way, get as many out as you possibly can to render it to like one or two. But the range on this blitzer causes you to kind of get within or just near the lunge range of a hunter, just so the arc bolts can register and connect with the target. But even still, you're not gonna get that controlled burst. And what I mean by controlled burst is like the gun comes out when it works in like a type of tight cone with the initial blast. If it can consistently make that shot and give us players more control over the weapon, it can be pretty. It could be decent. It could be decent. But even still, the arc bolts want to do what they want to do. And what I mean, it could take two, maybe three charges just to kill one hunter, and that's when it wants to do its own thing. That's setting you up for failure, and that's setting you up to be surrounded by other hunters. And at that point, you want to be. It's always best to just switch to your secondary weapon. At that point, you're better off using the auto pistol as a secondary, a strong secondary, if you want to run the blitzer. One tiny good thing about this weapon, I would say, is the ability to pop the heads off brood commanders. But you have to be careful because that still doesn't make them any less lethal. Because they can go into a craze and charge at you without their heads and try to get one more hit in. You have to be careful with that. That's the tiny good thing I can say about it. Now, my thoughts on how to make it even better is if you remove the random nature of the arc bolts. You remove the random nature of the arc bolts during the initial blast, make it a controlled burst. Keep it that tight cone so we can have consistent damage and we can get rid of enemies. And with the initial hit, the cone should then widen and then it can arc off to whomever. It may kill them, it may not, but if we can get the initial blast and be able to get out, it gives us more control, gives us more accuracy on who we want to engage with first. And it's always the enemy that's closest to you. Even again, it gives us hell divers more control over the weapon. And if you reduce the rechamber speed from 2 seconds to like even 1 second, take a second off, it'll make it much better, I think. And increase, and I'm not saying by a lot, but increase the range in which the arc bolts reach the enemy in front of you. That way, and also fixing the issue where nothing will happen, even if the enemy is close to you when you fire your weapon, because sometimes none of the arc bolts want to even reach the enemy. It seems like it just comes out like again a pretty little electrical light show at the end of the weapon, and it don't seem to arc off to any enemies, and you just wasted time rechambering it for like 2 whole seconds. And again, it's always best switch to your sidearm and get rid of enemies. It's literally faster than using this weapon. But if you give us more control over it and give us more accuracy, tighten the cone, this weapon will be just, it'll be a nice choice. It'll be something different. I mean, it's already bad enough. We have 7 shotguns in the game right now after the latest premium war bond that dropped recently. That's just my that's just my 2 cents, my thoughts on this weapon and how to greatly improve this weapon, because I want to love this weapon. I want to like this weapon. I don't mind shotguns. I want to be able to have a nice strong pick outside of the buffed base Punisher. But anyways, that's my thoughts. Please, if you like the video, comment, share, subscribe. I'm out.
Landing in progress. Extraction complete. Pelican 1 beginning ascent.
Oh, God.